I was waiting for you to. You seem so confident the way that you hit start. I thought, like, oh, he's got something.
I come in.
I was just here ready to receive.
I come in, some would say, too confident.
Mm-hmm.
When I come in to record. So? Some would say. Some would say too confident that I've prepared in any way, that I know what a podcast is, that I even know how to read, let alone have read the stories.
Right. Hmm? No,
but
some
at
of
the
us
end of the day,
have been saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you know what I do? I show up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's most of the job.
Yeah. No, you definitely do.
Anyway.
And you reminded me when I have to show up, because it's finally been so nice here in Denver, that I was out going for a walk, listening to happy folk music. Sunny day.
Happy folk music.
Skipping around town.
There will be
I went out and bought some milk.
Skipping. There will be no skipping. There will be no frolicking. You better have taken your fucking clogs off. You better have put your fucking wicker basket down.
Yep.
Those berries you picked, put them in the fucking fridge, buddy. Because we're here for Underworld News Tonight. Where we talk about the weird, wacky, and wild news of the week. Now, I told you guys, this is the month of guests. And this week we have my favorite guest of all. Nobody. But we do have, of course, our wonderful co-host, and the likely reason for our drastic improvement in popularity among women ages 45 to 59. Thank you so much for listening. Jason Strong.
Yep.
How's it going, Jason?
Man, no, it's good. Like I said, it was. It's been like Arctic here for the past week, and today it's a balmy 30 degrees, but the sun's out.
That was nice.
Yeah.
It's 15 degrees now. I think apparently the wind chill is below zero. I kind of think wind chill. All right, maybe this is a hot take. I don't want to come in with a hot take right away, because then we got to do announcements and then we got to get to the stories. But I'm going to start with a hot take.
Sure.
Wind chill is just a way for people to seem scientific while being dramatic about the weather.
You know what? Actually, yeah. I think you're exactly right. Yes.
Because it's 5 degrees. It's already fucking cold.
Right.
I don't need to hear, but it also feels like it's negative 93 degrees. Like, how about you just say, it's 0 degrees, it's fucking cold. I'm sick of it.
Right. No, and I also feel, I feel like what's evidence for your claim is that when it's nice out, nobody says, it's 80 degrees, 74 with the wind chill. Like, it's always when it's already fucking cold. So like what? Like at that point, what difference does it make? Does it matter if it's 0 or negative 10? Like, it sucks. But yeah, when it's when it's hot, when it's like 90, they don't say, 87 with the wind chill.
Fucking, no one ever uses wind chill to look on the bright side. But
right.
We could talk all day about the weather, gas prices, things of that nature.
Right.
But it's not what we do. We talk about the weird, wacky, and wild news of the week. And here's the wildest news of all. Show announcements that I do at the beginning of the show so you fuckers don't stop listening by the time I make them.
Yep.
First off, the merch reveal is coming. Some technical difficulties are being worked out. But if you want to win a free hat, share that show on social media. You just got to either tag us or email us a screenshot. Just something that we know you did it is really the main thing. You share this show with your friends, get people talking. That is something that we do appreciate. Speaking of social media, you can also join a new Facebook fan group on social media, the Underworld News Tonight Tinfoil Hat Club. We still have our page. That's where we're going to post all this stuff. But if you want to maybe meet some other fans of the show, I don't know. I just started the group. I don't know what's actually going to happen in there. Maybe I'll delete it later. But if you want to meet some other fans of the show, maybe, you should hang out in there. Highly recommend that. Now, speaking of social media, the internet, you can find a lot of weird things on there.
Yes.
And speaking of smooth segues, this shaman says he's going to stop casting spells on people's dicks. This is from Jason. I need you to be mature here. Here. This is a story coming from the Bangkok Post. The writer's name is Gary Boyle, which is not what I expected the Bangkok Post reporter's name to be.
Right. Uh-huh.
Now, this is a 35-year-old professed shaman. Okay. And he has confessed to charges relating to videos of him casting spells over the anuses and genitals of his clients, and he has promised to stop doing it. Now, his name, I'm going to nail this one, Apiwarasit Pwangsayang, a.k.a. the Ajarn Man. So I'm just going to call him the Ajarn Man from now on. He made headlines over Thai media recently after some videos went viral of him performing rites, casting spells on clients' private parts. We got to think of a new way to get the podcast out there, actually.
Wait, so you're recommending that what we sponsor?
You know what? I'm actually going to pause. I'm pausing the show right now, and I think this is going to help us go viral. Mass butthole spell for our listeners. If you're a listener who needs it a bit tighter down there, it's tighter now. If you need it a bit looser down there, it's looser now. If you need it exactly the same, that constipation that you were dealing with, look down, check your underpants.
Surprise. Problem solved.
Anyway, if you liked that, share the show. Now his defense, so Mr. Apiwara.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
It does. No, go ahead.
You know, it does matter. You're a co-host of this show, Jason. What you have to say matters. Go on, please.
What doesn't matter, because at this point I've totally forgotten what it was.
Man. It's all funny until one day it's early onset dementia.
I know. Yeah. No, I do remember you had said genitals and anus of the right. So
clients, yeah.
That's so he like specialized in that, or
so I think he says
one
now
of a menu.
He says now he's only sticking to non-genital and anus body parts. So I think he can do other work now that he's gotten into some hot water about it. But I imagine that that's what people are looking for. I don't think, I think if you're asking, like, what are people going to pay for a knee blessing versus an anus blessing? Let me put it this way.
Right.
You get knee surgery, but you'd prefer a spell on your dick than anything with an incision.
You know what? That's actually a great point. I do, in fact, prefer a spell.
Well, which is why that mass butthole spell was free, guys. If we reach 100 Spotify followers, I don't know, ever.
What?
I don't know what.
Then ever, yes.
Yeah, ever, I guess, because I guess maybe my expectations are too high. I will give everyone a dick spell too, ladies. If you can get us to 500, a round of pussy spells on the house. Or men with vaginas, or ladies with dicks, because I know that yeah. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. Keep talking. No. Let's keep talking about this.
All right, yeah. So, Jason, some men have vaginas and some women have penises.
No. Yes.
Because genital is not okay. If you want to learn more about that, we'll start a Patreon. He in his defense, the Ajarn Man says that these videos They were only intended to be shared to potential clients to inform them that he does this. Not intended for pornographic use or to be made public at all. And I believe that, actually. Because,
sure.
Listen, I've looked at some weird porn, maybe, right? But I don't think anything that I would ever define as porn involves a guy going presto changeo over someone's butthole like that.
Do you think that's how it works?
I haven't watched the videos. I think, yeah, not presto changeo, because I think then you'd have to change their dick. Abracadabra, maybe? No, abracadabra would make your dick disappear. You don't want that. What spell would you cast over someone's dick? Underworld News Tonight at gmail.com.
Are you... I wasn't thinking so much about what I would cast on someone else versus what would I ask for. Right? Because presumably this shaman has a menu of services, obviously, so you can pick. So there's not just a genital spell, I would assume. There, it's tailored to different functions, goals for the genitalia, right?
That's a good point.
Right. Well, and of course, let's not forget the anus. The anus is on the menu.
Yeah, the anus. I think we all know like what we would change, like what we do to our anus, Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even have to mention it. I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. We are all on the same page about that one. Right. He's been doing this for over a decade. Casting spells over the private areas of clients. And he says they usually come back for repeats. Hot take. If you have to come back for a second asshole spell, it means that it's not working.
You think so?
Like, shouldn't they be one and done?
Well, but even if you use like a traditional Western doctor, it's very rarely is it one and done, right? Like, my doctor's always checking out my asshole. Like, sometimes.
No, that's true, but your doctor doesn't have access to magic.
I guess it would depend on like what he was promising, because it would. Well, we both play Dungeons and Dragons, right? So when you cast a spell,
yeah,
there's
we
a
play
duration.
with each other. I don't know why you're saying right. It's true.
So
I guess a shaman
there's
would be
a
like
duration
a cleric
for every spell, right? So I don't think it would be like indefinite. It would have a certain period of time that it was effective, and then you would have to recast the spell.
Spotify question for the episode, if you're listening on Spotify: should a butthole spell be one and done? Answer the question. I'm not sure how I'm going to phrase it. Maybe I can't put butthole in the Spotify question. We'll figure that out. But answer the question on Spotify. Let us know. And I'll also ask that in the Facebook group as well.
You could, I think you could put butthole. You can look up the Butthole Surfers.
That's true. You can look up the Butthole Surfers.
If for whatever reason
that's
what you chose to do.
Man.
No, this is all over the place. Yeah, so what kind of spell would I want?
On your butthole or your dick? On your dick, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say, man, it's just.
I actually have my answer.
Like it's just so big. No.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why that's why you have a podcast.
Right. I couldn't even convincingly make that joke.
Yeah. You know what I think that I would want if we...
What's that?
I would want to switch dicks with you for just 24 hours. I feel like it would bring us closer as co-hosts.
Wow. That's kind of a weird Freaky Friday sort of situation. I don't know. Man, I don't know if I should be flattered or horrified.
Well, we get them back at the end of the day. Like, that's the thing. Like,
sure.
we do switch back at the end of the day. So we keep our bodies, but just we wake up in the morning, our dicks have flipped.
Right.
And then...
Right. I understand the premise, but it's more so that you put thought into this.
Yeah, I just think that I think that the dynamic on the show, people say all the time, they listen to the show for our dynamic, our banter, and I think if we Freaky Friday our penises, I do think it would help us with that.
But, huh. Yeah. I don't know. I guess if it would bring more listeners, I'm not saying no. I guess, yeah. So, but unfortunately, this dude, he's not going to do that anymore, right?
Yeah.
So we have to find some other dude.
Yeah, if you're any of our Thai shaman listeners, if you can Freaky Friday Jason and I to switch dicks for a day, we would appreciate that. Anyway, the Ajarn man has agreed that these rights were inappropriate. Improper was the exact word used in the article. He's apologized for performing them and promised to stop offering such services and to focus his spells on other areas of the body, such as faces, arms, and hands. Yeah, so they said that he would. The police said he was being charged with distribution of pornography into computer systems, which were accessible to the public, which I did not know was illegal in Thailand. But you learn something new every day, I guess.
Right. Yeah. No, thank you. That was boy, that was something. All right. Our next story here, this comes to us from the Irish Star, one of our favorite sources. So the Irish Star. It has,
love them.
Not to get too far afield, but the website, like the color's great, the font's great, like all of it, 100% Irish Star.
We love the Irish Star,
but this is,
until they endorse something really horrible and this clip comes back to bite us. Maybe they already have. I don't fucking know. I like their Bigfoot section.
I suppose that's true. I like the web layout. I don't know. Irish Star. I feel like that's something that you could have asked that shaman for before he had to give it up. I'll take the Irish Star.
Oh my god.
Headline: U.S. military faction has used, quote, alien tech, according to UFO expert.
Perfect. You know what? We all knew it. I've said, I've been saying this for years. Is it me? Am I the UFO expert they're quoting on this?
No, unfortunately. It is Michael Schratt. Michael
always
Schratt.
Trust a Schratt.
Yeah. His credentials are UFO enthusiast. So this is
so I think UFO... expert and enthusiast. You went from expert to enthusiast in one line.
I didn't go from shit. This is the Irish Star you were just fawning over.
I'm saying they really dropped him off. You know what? I am an expert.
Right. No, yeah, they really stepped it down. But according to Mr. Schratt, most crashed UAPs, which again, for the benefit of first-time listeners,
unidentified anomalous phenomena, not aerial.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you dare fucking say aerial.
No, yeah. but the crash UAPs are not alien in origin, but are rather U.S. manufactured prototypes that themselves were based on UFOs. So, what he's claiming is that some of the recent testimony about UAPs are not, in fact, themselves the evidence of extraterrestrials, but they're a step removed in that it's our government is building shit with this recovered alien technology. Man. So we're like, yes, yeah.
You know, that is interesting because if you remember last year, we talked about the Schumer amendment, the original version, and what we ended up getting. And one of the controversial provisions that ended up being defeated was that any either alien craft in the hands of private entities or anything derived from alien craft in the hands of private entities was now in the public domain, which would include, you know, anything like this in the hands of companies like Halliburton, Lockheed Martin, Boeing.
Right. And this article actually references that. Mr. Schratt goes on. Why do so many alien aircraft crash? Some crashes occurred because of the U.S. deliberately attacking aliens. Some of it is U.S. aircraft chasing other U.S. aircraft and shooting them down.
Well, you know, I don't think I don't think we want to deliberately attack aliens. I'm going to say that now. We shouldn't do it. I mean, well, I guess. Imagine
it would
that,
depend,
though, because that's
I guess,
the thing. It's like,
yeah.
What if it is actually like alien Hitler, and then they thank us?
Right. Yeah. So I guess then our official stances were neutral in shooting down UAPs, deliberately attacking aliens. We're kind of both sidesing this issue.
Well, if they're coming, I don't want to both sides the issue on the air. What I'm going to say is this. It's probably not a good idea, and I would recommend not doing that, personally. If you're any of our listeners in the military, if you're looking at a UFO right now, don't shoot it. You didn't see it. Also, you should probably stop listening to this podcast at work if you're in the military.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, well, if you're flying like this $500 million jet, maybe don't be listening to the amateur Bigfoot podcast. Like, maybe give it 100%.
No, you know what? No, I think that they should listen to the amateur Bigfoot podcast because, listen, I don't want to get morbid here, but if they die listening to our show flying that jet, I am pretty sure it does finish out on Spotify, and that is good for us in the algorithm. So keep listening.
No, point taken. The article goes on to quote Mr. Schratt, who this is from. He did a podcast with the Disclosure. Excuse me. Cut that out. The Disclosure Team podcast. So this is all coming. This is all from a podcast interview.
And they don't just let anybody have a podcast, guys.
No. Exactly.
You got to work pretty hard to get one of these.
Right. And very, like, extremely stringent standards. Like, you know, the Worldwide Podcast Authority. You have to submit DNA. They do background checks. They fucking interviewed my kindergarten teacher. And she's been dead for like 15 years. Yeah.
They had this guy do it. I mean, they've threatened many times to take away my badge and my gun.
Right. Yeah. but then you always end up solving the case at the end, and God damn it, they don't have to like you,
Exactly.
but they do respect you. Yeah.
Usually the solution is, have you tried plugging the microphone in? But
all right. I'll just paraphrase. Rogue element of the military-industrial complex is tracking, targeting, and shooting down these the UFOs to be able to salvage their technology. That
can I ask, are there any not rogue elements of the military-industrial complex? I feel like every element of the military-industrial complex I've ever heard of has gone rogue on the other elements of the military-industrial complex.
Right, been rogue.
If everyone's rogue, is anyone rogue? Is all I'm really asking.
Right, and no, that's a good point. I don't know. I like to think of myself as a bit of a rogue. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, you're a loose cannon.
I don't know if I'm like identify with the right. I don't know if I identify with the military-industrial complex, but I like to think I'm a bit of a rascal.
That's
right.
my favorite.
Right. There's rascally elements of the military-industrial complex.
This is why one of my favorite fucking stupid action movies is Top Gun, because such a huge part of the plot is he's a loose cannon who doesn't like to take orders or play by the rules, and you will sit there thinking, maybe the military was not the best career choice then.
Right. No, I do. You're exactly right, and literally, like every super popular 80s movie, it has that theme that like the person's whatever genre, particularly action. There's this free thinking.
They're either a military man or a spy or a cop.
Right, but they're always in hot water, right? That they're perpetually in trouble with their boss, and if they're married, their spouse is always threatening divorce. So, and that really imprinted on me as a kid.
Yeah, well, that's
and explains a lot of who I am today. Is this belief that the more people tell you, man, quit being an asshole, the more right you are.
Which is why, luckily, you can never be too much of an asshole for this podcast. I mean, you probably could.
Right.
I'm going to say there is probably a point at which somebody could be too much of an asshole for this podcast.
Yes, yeah.
But I don't know when we're going to get there. Sorry, continue. So, rogue element of the military-industrial complex. Shooting down UFOs.
Yes. This has been going on for about 70 years. The technology has been folded into U.S. military applications. This is an overly long article for the claim that he's making, but so he even Schratt claims that the UFO, the Tic Tac video that you've referenced a few times, was not
smoking gun.
Yeah, right. It was not UAP, but reversed engineered human technology.
Interesting. Implying that it was also then, coming from alien tech.
Right.
No, I mean, very interesting. I mean, I guess what I find confusing, though, is that it seems like if we're reverse engineering their tech for military purposes, I don't know why we're so successful at shooting them down with, our 1950s cannons.
Right. Well, or conversely, why they aren't more successful in shooting ours down. Because I feel like you hear about a shit ton of, well, not a shit ton, but you usually hear about military jet crashes. right? Like that shit usually makes
but
the
a lot
news.
of but a lot of the, I mean, the counter argument to that is that a lot of people might say that there are deaths that are attributed to something else. I mean, and sure enough, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the case right now.
Cover-Up.
But I mean, there was a in the, I think it was 47. There was a
Mm-hmm.
U.S. military jet crash that was a UFO encounter. Now, what that's now been attributed to is actually somebody who was flying below a comet that they thought was a UFO, and they were flying below a comet in daylight.
Okay.
But you know, I mean that's whether, I mean, that depends on whether or not you believe that narrative. I don't necessarily find it inconceivable, though, that I mean, I do think that if there are when there are UFO crashes, I think it's fairly likely that the government does engage in retrieval for the purpose of reverse engineering the tech. I think that any military it's in their best interest to do that. Probably with it. I mean,
right.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's likely, but I think that
Well,
I just find it hard to believe we're successfully shooting them down.
Right. Yeah. No, I do too. I'm sorry. I promised you a reference to the military contractors, military manufacturers. Sorry, I should have bookmarked this. But basically, they are in on it. The government has told them, again, according to Schratt, that they don't care like what they do or how they do it as long as it gets results. So again, maybe a hint
that
at
seems fairly in line.
private entities getting hold of this, and
you know, I honestly, I really don't think it's hard to believe. But definitely let us know what you think. Underworld News Tonight at gmail.com or on any of the social media out there. Personally, I think that this attempt at secrecy from the military-industrial complex has just been shattered.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Shattered.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm back to stand-up. Anyway, on that note, we will be right back. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with some more great stories. And welcome back. Speaking of welcome back, I thought we were done with stories from 2023. Usually I uncover something old, but somebody brought this to my attention. And this is actually a story that is from 2023, but was from decades ago, from before that was just revealed, that I think is really interesting as far as covering, you know, extra-dimensional travel, time travel, things like that. From a beloved source of ours, of course, The Mirror. And this was written by Ryan Fahey. A woman claims that a quote-unquote time slip saw her traveling through time as she walked down a UK high street. I already made a joke about high walks on the New Year's special, so I can't make it again. But a woman claims to have experienced a time slip in which she traveled 60 years into the past while walking along a busy high street.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
No, please continue. Sorry,
Yeah. As Julie French walked past a bookstore in Liverpool's Bold Street. First it's a high street, then it's a bold street. Get the story straight, Mirror. Suddenly, a shop front transformed into an old-fashioned department store with 1940s handbags and shoes in the shop window. Julie, who's now in her 50s, but was in her 20s at the time, explained how she did a double take, thinking it must have been a war-related promotion. I'm sorry, fucking what? This is the weird... What do you mean war-related promotion? Like the Gulf War?
Right.
The Falkland War?
Right.
Remember the London Blitz?
Yeah. The war on drugs? The Cola Wars?
They were just trying to cash in on all that nostalgia for the London Blitz.
Right. Yeah. I definitely remember that phase.
All right. That was a quote from her. But then, when I looked down at the floor, the pavement suddenly seemed to go darker. I turned around and I looked up a bold street. I saw about 12 or 13 people walking by, all dressed in 1940s coats and hats. It's a Liverpool accent.
I'll take your word for it.
I think she may have just walked into, like, the filming of a Scorsese movie.
Yeah, I was thinking something like that, or like, well, right. So this would have been, sorry.
This would have been the early 90s.
The dates are confusing. Okay. So this could have been a Goodfellas, sure. Well, no, they didn't dress in that wasn't the 40s.
No, but they all kind of dressed like old, they dressed like old Italian guys. They kind of dressed the same throughout history.
Yeah, I'll give you that. What? No, this could be oh, shit. I just lost my train of thought. It could be like some kind of a con, like convention.
Oh, that's true.
It could have been that she stumbled into like a what you call it, murder mystery party or dinner where.
Oh man, that's more horrifying than being time traveled.
Let's say, yeah, I went to one of those, and yeah, it was like, gangster times, like 40s, I doffed a fedora, and I ended up being the victim, which actually worked out best for me because halfway through the night I had no more responsibilities.
Well, I didn't have to do it. I was done. They kick me out of those because when I'm the victim, I'll haunt people. I'll kind of try to give them sage advice. So I'll be the victim, and then I'll be floating by someone else and being like, "Son, whatever you do, don't masturbate.
Don't buy Dogecoin."
Son.
I guess it's presuming it was like 5 years ago.
Hear this? Man. Yeah, when I go to a Prohibition era, or when I go to a 1930s mystery dinner, I just like to go as a guy who already jumped off the top of a building at the start of the Great Depression. So yeah, I just get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, with the with like the weird green visor and the like arm garter clutching a roll of ticker tape.
Oh man.
Just diving onto Fifth Avenue.
Man. Great Depression. Hard times, I'm going to say it. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the 1940s in England, famously easy times.
No, and I was going to say we're really conflating, like we've gone from the 20s to the 40s.
All the fucking same shit.
Like whatever.
If it's before Jason was alive, who gives a shit?
Right. Right. Exactly.
She recalls
it's kind of the same. Sorry.
She recalled then hearing the spluttering of an old-fashioned car, which was complete with the period round side mirrors. She then heard it honking its horn as it trundled towards her, even though the street was supposed to be pedestrianized. I love how she just walked into the middle of every signifier at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking, like, I love the language. Like, the vocabulary, to pedestrianized and...
Yeah, that's how you know this is England, is nowhere has been pedestrianized in America in the last 80 years.
Right. And how did she describe the car going up the street? It was like bluttering?
Spluttering. The spluttering of an old-fashioned car. But that's the other thing, too, is I used to have a 2005 Hyundai Accent. And that motherfucker spluttered.
An old-fashioned car by any standard.
It was certainly
yes,
was my because I pulled out. It made some
Right.
weird fucking noises. Man,
No, that's I'm definitely gonna incorporate that. Spluttered. I'm gonna put that in my vocabulary.
So she walked back inside of the shop where she was served by a woman draped in 1940s style garb. She turned to a bookcase which had the word Dylan's written upon it before a man grabbed her by the arm and she slipped back to 1996. Man.
Yeah. What an adventure. Now, this sounds like the premise for like a Netflix series or something.
No, it is wild. And Julie believes that she experienced a phenomenon known as a time slip, when people claim to have been suddenly whisked away to points in the past or future at the same location. This all apparently was said on the Uncanny podcast, hosted by Danny Robbins, Pay Up, who documents paranormal incidents on his show. And he says the phenomenon isn't uncommon, apparently having told The Sun that he received the story about somebody who walked out of the Oxford Street branch of HMV, don't know what that is, in the 1990s and saw the London street as it was in the Victorian period, covered in shit. Human shit, horse shit, cow shit, dog shit, monkey shit, all sorts. Truly.
Right. They were importing shit. Just dumping it.
They witnessed horse-drawn...
As a very brief aside, whenever I watch like a period piece or like, read a book set, in like Victorian England, I just can't help but think like, no matter how pretty they try to make it look, that place would have stank so fucking bad.
Oh, yeah, totally. But you probably get used to it. I mean, you get used to it.
I guess, but yeah.
People can adjust to smells very quickly. If there is a smell always near you, you adjust. Yeah, so that she went into that street in the Victorian period. They witnessed horse-drawn carriages and cobbled streets and even experienced the smells of Victorian London. How do you explain that? Is it a glitch in someone's mind? Or is it a moment of the past genuinely coming back to life in a strange sensory way? Another theory, what if you're actually going between dimensions? Because time works differently in different dimensions, obviously. So, if it's maybe 2024 right here, but in another dimension it's 1924. That could also be what's happening.
Right. Well, it could even be an alternate timeline. In which case, but the people that go don't have the chance to realize it because they're only there so briefly. But
or they're stuck there and we don't hear from them.
Right. But if the woman who went back to the 40s London, was there for another 10 minutes and walked by a newspaper stand, it might have said something like, the USA was bombing Britain, or the Morlocks or whatever.
Those motherfuckers.
Right. Godzillas were attacking Tokyo, or like, could be anything.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it does seem, I don't know, like, assuming that any of this is real, I think that, I actually agree with you that it's more likely that you end up in another dimension or timeline than you do in like a different point in our timeline. I just feel like that's just kind of gone. But if things are kind of pitch shifted,
right,
man. If you could just walk into any decade for an hour, which one are you picking?
Oh man, what a good question.
But you have to stay you have to stay where you are about. So I have to be in that decade in Champagne. You have to be in Denver.
Shit. I guess that being the case, like my inclination, if I could pick anywhere to be, would be to go back like really far. But Denver hasn't, for it's not like we're the cradle of Western civilization, or it's fairly recent. So I guess I would go back to the like what 50 late 50s, early 60s, like the Beat period.
Oh,
When because Kerouac, if you've read or remember your on the road,
oh yeah.
this is where he was coming, and there are
Oh, that's
places
right.
like they're still building standing, like bars that are open that you can go to that Kerouac was at. No, I don't know. I think that it'd be interesting to yeah
I go back to
see
cowboy
that sort of
times.
energy. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I'd be an outlaw. I think rob some
yeah.
trains.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, I think it'd be
What?
fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how to ride a horse though. That's the problem.
Do you have to? Yeah. Well, yeah, but also if we're talking about sort of the premise of the story, where you go back like briefly, that you wouldn't would you find your
I guess
are you
I'd
saying
try to I'd rob a bank to get the gold bars because then I go back now and they're gold bars. They're worth whatever. And
okay?
nobody. It's the perfect crime. Nobody's going to expect that I went back in time, stole the gold bars, and then went
I
back.
think
And I don't even know if we have a way to
yeah.
prosecute that.
I think what you've just described was the opening crime from the 1990s Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Time Cop.
Oh, is it really? I've
Where
never seen Time Cop.
yes, the opening, the sort of intro to the movie, where you get to see Van Damme, doing his thing. He travels back to, I think it's actually, well, yeah, Civil War era. So cowboy, there were cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same time period, just a different location. But yeah, he travels back in time because some rogue time traveler came back and was going to hold up
Man,
a bunch of Yankee gold, and then take it into the future would be worth a bunch. And Van Damme has to stop
gold
him.
is worth. Isn't gold worth relatively? I don't fucking know about any of this shit. Isn't gold worth relatively the same amount of money? That's kind of the whole point of gold, right? Is that it is the most stable
Like
thing.
kind of stable.
Yeah, like gold has short-term price fluctuations, I think, but long-term it's remarkably stable. So, like,
Right,
100,
right. But mm-hmm. But
like $125,000 in cash will get you something very different in 50 years. But if I bought $125,000 worth of gold, I could still buy the equivalent buying power of $125,000 today with that gold 50 years in the future, in theory. I'm not telling you guys to fucking buy gold. That we don't do that shit. But I'm saying this plan doesn't hold up because it's not going to be worth that much more because gold doesn't really do that.
Right. And it's also important to bear in mind that one, this was a crappy 90s action movie, and two, I'm 2.5 beers deep and smoked a bowl, so my memory about watching Time Cop 15 years ago may be a little bit hazy.
Well, we'll rewatch it and report back to us next week.
Sure. Okay.
I just think it's a stupid plan is all. What you want to do if you want to get rich from your time travel crime, you don't even need to rob anybody. Go back in time, buy fucking Action Comics #1 or any of the baseball cards that you could check the value of in your time period, then come back and just sell them, and you've not committed any crimes. They probably the time cops have to be monitoring those sales though.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost certainly. Well, I don't know. I guess contemporary police don't monitor the illicit sales of stolen comic books, right?
I mean, there are police units that monitor the sales of stolen art. If it was a comic book that was worth $1 million, then it would be monitored. If it was a comic book that was worth $5, then it wouldn't be.
Right, but even if it was worth I don't know, 500,000, I don't know that there's necessarily a police agency that's tracking that, or you know what I mean?
Well, they don't have time cop capabilities.
Oh, that's true. No, you're right. Boy, would that we all had those.
Yeah. Maybe once we get those butthole and dick spells.
Right. You think that's what they're doing? That's what the spells are. Is that?
Yeah, I think it's that you shit to go to a different time period, and then you got to come to get yourself back.
Yeah, you can send your anus and or genitals to a different time period.
It's true. they pick up clues like Carmen Sandiego.
Right. Yes.
I'm picturing.
Right.
Do you remember there was a show called? Oh man, you're definitely too old for it. There was a show called Liberty Kids on PBS in the early 2000s. It was on very briefly, but I think it left like a weird splash with like kids my age, and it was about like a bunch of contemporary American kids. I think I watched it a long time ago, and if I remember, it was a bunch of contemporary American kids who somehow get teleported back to the Revolutionary period. They might have actually just been kids in the Revolutionary period, but I think that's what happened. And I'm wondering how different now the show would be if they were all there, then there was just a grown man's disembodied asshole floating around.
Right. And it just happened to be there for like all the great events of the Revolutionary War. I just came here
to invent the Denver omelet and get credit. Oh man. All right. Well, I think it's time on that note to get to our final story of the week.
Our final story. This is from CNN.
Real news.
Yeah. Ending on a bit of a controversy this week. Headline: quote, oldest ever dog, end quote. Bobi, B-O-B-I. How would you pronounce that?
Bobby, I think.
Oh, it's also bear in mind it's Portuguese. They're in Portugal.
I'm gonna say Jim.
Oldest ever dog, Jim, has title suspended and amid investigation.
Okay.
So I remember actually seeing this earlier. Late last year. That purportedly the oldest dog that ever lived had died back in October. Supposedly, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, 31 years old.
Sounds almost implausible.
But there's some as the Guinness World Records has done the verification. There's some discrepancies with some of the evidence that's popped up. The Jim, Jim's age was initially the age of 31 years was initially confirmed by the Veterinary Medical Service of the municipality of Leiria in Portugal.
You can't trust the veterinary service of the municipality of Leiria. Who can you trust?
No. Yeah,
your
absolutely.
Wife?
No. Not at all. They verified that he was 31 years and 165 days old when he passed away in October. More evidence came to light that there's some fuzziness to that. He the owner, Jim's owner, Lionel Costa, wasn't there when he was born. Said he was 8 years old when he got him. So no one can, I guess, no one can verify that.
Yeah, just totally because how does a fucking vet verify? So they claim they verify that, like, medically, that this dog was 36 months and 36 years and 126 days, or 32 years and 126 days, or whatever, 31.
I think it was via medical records.
Okay, because
like there was a paper trail.
when I got my dog, we were like, "How old is he?" And they were like, "Yeah, 2 months ish."
Right. Yeah, and I think that's where the discrepancy lies here.
Okay. So, like, basically, they verified this by looking at a piece of paper that said this dog is 30, and they were like, okay.
Well, I think they looked back and saw the first time that the dude took him to the vet,
mm-hmm.
and it was dated 1992, and it said that he claimed the dog was 8 years old. So that's the earliest verifiable evidence that. Do you know what I mean? So it's the same thing you're saying, like, except that, yeah.
I just think Europeans are too trusting. You said this is in Portugal, right?
It is. Yeah.
I just think Europeans are too trusting. Because I think that an American would immediately be like, no, that's clearly a different dog's paper, and you just gave a different dog the same name.
Right. Well, it's also weird that there's this veterinary medical service of the municipality of Leiria is doing, like, keeping track of this shit. It just,
I don't know enough about how that works.
There's no U.S. equivalent, right? Like, I don't know if,
man,
like, nobody's checking up on ages of dogs in America.
I think Biden's got to do it personally. I think that's one of his responsibilities. Maybe Kamala? I think Kamala does that.
Oh, you know what? Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because we weren't sure if my dog is a senior or not yet, and she actually had to come over and stick her finger up his ass unprompted. I wish she didn't do it in the middle of the night because it woke up us up something fierce. But
yeah, no, no, as it would. Yeah. So, Jim's owner, Bobby / Jim's owner, Leonel Acosta, he credits Jim's long life to him always roaming freely without a leash or chain, like responsible dog ownership.
Yeah, no, we've talked about responsible dog ownership already.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that the dog roamed freely, lived a, quote, calm, peaceful environment, and ate human food that had been soaked in water to remove seasonings. Which, that's
why
the
don't you
secret
just
to my
not season the fucking... What is it, fucking British? Just don't season the food in the first place.
Yeah, who knows?
You're... Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, I can't believe it. I mean, but it seems like this is, like, probably pretty common, right? Because it's not like... I mean, it seems pretty... You're really relying on the reliability of checking which dog was which 30 years ago when you're claiming the world's oldest dog.
Right. But what's interesting... No, because you're exactly right. And that's what my inclination would be is like, oh, is this, like, changing every year, every 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Right. The previous record holder for longest living dog was held by Australian cattle dog Bluey, who was born in 1910 and lived to be 29 years and 5 months old. So there's over 100 year. So
well,
this
now
isn't
both,
doesn't seem particularly common. Like,
yeah. Well, now Bobby has been posthumously disgraced. The Jimmy Savile of dogs.
Well, that's a little much, but I mean, so absolute worst case is that and there's no reason to think this, the dog lied about its age.
I
don't think that's up there.
Harming people is bad. Harming the institution of the world's oldest dog record is historically more significant. No,
that's true. That's nigh unforgivable. Those Yeah, making those folks, putting egg on the face of those folks over at Guinness. Writing their book. Right. measuring the longest cucumber. And
my father was a cucumber measurer, and God damn it, I'm a cucumber measurer.
Right. They can't be more than 6 people who just have to fly around the world to, all right, let's see this guy's fingernails. Or
so, I mean, my understanding is that Guinness is kind of a marketing. So my actual understanding is that Guinness is a marketing company now, and they openly advertise themselves as that. And you can basically have your company get in touch with them. And so if I set a record, I would have to pay them a lot of money to get them to even check it.
Sure. Right.
We should figure out a way to get a record for our podcast, maybe.
That would be cool. I don't know.
Record the world's longest episode, but I feel like that's going to be 300 hours, and we're not going to want to do that.
No. Yeah, I don't know.
World's most weed smoked before a podcast recording.
I feel like we could not even come close.
I think we could do it.
How much we tried.
I think if we combine, I think we could. I think that the key is measured. I think we could do it. I don't know. What world record would you guys like to see us compete for? I might do that instead of the butthole question on Spotify. Answer one of them on Spotify. Check the question to see what it is.
Well, I was actually thinking if we were able to do your shaman spell, that it would be the world record for the longest genital swap.
That's true.
In the world.
The problem is
that has to be a pretty low bar, I would think. But
the thing is, we would need to coordinate it with the shaman, the record keeper, and both of us, because we'd need to have a record keeper in both of our houses. I think what we would need to do is we would need to all be in the same area, because the record keeper would need to look at both of our dicks before, both of our dicks after, and then we'd have to walk around dick out for the entire time, so we make sure it doesn't swap back.
Right. And there would probably have to be some sort of GPS tracking device involved.
Yeah.
On the dicks to make sure that they weren't.
Oh, totally. Yeah. You don't want them imported in. But that's 2024 is the year of the Jason Strong Andrew Michaels dick swap. You guys are going to get to hear it up close and personal. Thank you so much for listening to Underworld News Tonight.
I hate this so much.
Well, you'll learn to love it, buddy. Wait till you see how much I piss.
Man.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts, preferably the place you're listening to this right now. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, Underworld News Tonight. Join the Facebook group, Underworld News Tonight, Tinfoil Hat Club. Follow me on Instagram, Andrew Michaels 1995. There will be some stand-up clips up there soon. Jason, you have an Instagram.
Yeah, jasonvstrong.com. .com. God damn it.
Jason V. Strong on Instagram.com or the app or jasonvstrong.com. I don't know who jasonvstrong.com is. It could be another Jason V. Strong.
jasonvstrong.edu.
jasonvstrong.co.ru.
Yep. jasonvstrong.biz.
Oh man.
You know what? I noticed because we had guests the past couple weeks. When there's no guests, we're just such a mess.
We don't have. There's no accountability right now. It's really just us. Follow him on Instagram, Jason V. Strong. You could see some of his visual art. It's really cool. Follow me on Instagram, Andrew Michaels 1995. You could see my stand-up. You could see pictures of my dog. Follow us on Instagram, Underworld News Tonight. Actually, don't follow me at Andrew Michaels 1995. That's not me. Follow me at Andrew Michaels 95. That is me. You can see my stand-up and pictures of my dog. Follow us on Instagram at Underworld News Tonight to see clips from the show you're listening to right now. And, like I said, 2024, Jason and I are swapping dicks. You guys should swap dicks with your friends.
No.
Swap dicks and clits with each other, guys, this year.
Whatever.
Get closer. Love one another.
Sure.
Because I'll tell you something. Whatever rivalry you used to have, once you swap foreskins, it's all better. And I think a lot of bigotry could be solved. So go ahead and do it, because it's all phantom time, but right now.
If we do end up swapping, given your foreskin comment, I have some bad news for you.
I wanted to see what it would be like.